Hey guys, today I am looking at Killzone 2 for the PS3. So Killzone was a PlayStation exclusive shooter, and so they kind of said, oh, well, we don't need Gears or Halo, we've got Killzone. I just remember during the console wars between PlayStation and Xbox, this was like a big effing deal, like, oh, Killzone, that's the shooter that's more realistic than any other shooter out there, and I don't want to hear anything about it. And it's funny, I've played Killzone 1 and it is a rough game. It is like legitimately bad, and not fun at all and very broken. But Killzone 2, at least, is actually very well built. It's very kind of, built out, and it has some own kind of dynamic, interesting themes. So for example, like the way you move in this game, it feels like you have a bunch of gear on you. Your weapon bob is very over exaggerated, and it does feel like intentionally clunky or very smoothly clunky or janky, which is a very weird feel for me. But yeah, it is a competent shooter. It's not anything amazing though. And the funny thing about Killzone is that essentially, there was this colony of humans that were relegated to this prison colony planet or something. And so it was filled with this toxic gas, and they were basically looked down on by the rest of humanity. And so what occurred is that, they eventually became disfigured because of the conditions on the planet, and they tragically had to adopt this incredibly cool black and red looking armor. And so they basically said, if we're going to be, treated like this, we're going to rise up and destroy Earth and humanity. And so basically they attack Earth in the first game, and in this game you bring the fight to Helgen. And so that is where they are from, and they're called the Helghast. And you have this guy who's basically like the Fuhrer, of the Helghast, and he basically wants to unify them and turn them into a giant, massive fighting force. And so you, along with your Delta Squad or whatever, similar to Gears or Call of Duty or whatever, you kind of go on this pseudo sci-fi, first-person shooter mission just to shoot all the guys, take out the general, and restore peace to the galaxy. And so, honestly, the Helghast have amazingly, distinct designs, really cool designs, and they honestly are much more interesting than the Marines and Space Marines that you play as, basically. It's kind of a very crass and crude game. It's very gritty, very bloody. My main kind of complaint, though, is that despite this being a sci-fi shooter, a lot of the guns feel like normal, assault rifles out of Call of Duty or something, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Oh, this is a machine gun, and this is an assault rifle, and this is an assault rifle. It's kind of like, all right, well, this is, fine. This is whatever. You also have your basic melee, switching to your pistol sidearm. You have your, sniper mission, all that kind of normal stuff. There's lots of missions where you have to take down the Helghast helicopters. And again, I really like this kind of sci-fi setting. It's kind of cool, and I like Helghast as a planet and the armor. But the weapons you're using actually aren't that interesting. I mean, one of them you do get is a flamethrower. It's just kind of nifty. But when I played this game, I thought, okay, this is a fine shooter, but nowhere near anything special enough. The PlayStation's Halo killer or something. I know PlayStation players were just so salty because they had no games to play. On the PlayStation 3. And so when they did have finally something to play, they thought it was the best thing ever. And it was just really, really tiresome. A very tiresome age, definitely. Oh yeah, there were also certain enemies that, of course, most of them were grunts, but certain enemies would be these huge juggernaut guys, which you had to throw explosives at to make them turn around and then shoot their energy tank and then make them blow up, essentially, is the only way to take them out. And God, I just remember this one video of this one guy being like, you know what? The PS Triple, we call that the tray. The PS3, that's the tray, and it's tray for life, bro. And you know what? I got a buddy who fought in NAM, and he's playing Killzone 2, and he said it's giving him war flashbacks. Yeah, hell yeah, bro. That's how real this game is. We don't need your dinky Halo 3 chips and dip. We don't need Halo 3 chips and dip. Gears of War, and you'll love this. You know what he said? He said Tears of War. That's a stupid game, huh? So we got Killzone. It's like, all right, man, whatever. And now I'm playing Killzone years later. I'm like, yeah, this is okay. Very mid. And, you know, I guess I'll take this opportunity to also talk about the other Killzone titles in the series, Shadowfall and Killzone 3. Killzone 3 was like, oh, it's snow themed, like Dead Space 3 and Lost Planet. Yeah. Killzone 3, again, a completely forgettable shooter. This one at least had a very distinct, you know, setting and style and everything. But Killzone 3 just kind of felt like almost like an extension of this game. Not really anything interesting. Again, you know, nothing really interesting happens in the story. You know, they track down the bad guy. The bad guy tries to get away. They kill him, you know, and at first they're like, oh, we have to bring him in. And like, I think Rico, whatever the hell his name is, like, no, I hate him. I'm going to kill him. And then he kills him. Like, what did you do that for? Oh, I hate you. F you. No, everything sucks now. And then they, you know, kind of like blow up the Reichstag or whatever and escape. A bunch of, you know, very just boring, generic stuff, frankly. Anyway, Killzone is, you know, a very distinct kind of mood and vibe. You know, it does have a very, you know, the guns all sound very real and kind of deafening and very headache inducing. So, you know, there's that too, I guess. And in general, they kind of, you know, there's small variations between each gun and it feels like just, you know, Call of Duty or whatever. But yeah, there's not much else to say about it. It's just another shooter, and the sci-fi setting I feel is really underutilized for what they could be doing with it. And yeah, it's an okay game. Again, the physics and how the enemies fall is also very distinct and interesting. But once you kind of get used to it, there's not a lot more to the game after that. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much this game. I'll see you later. Bye.